My God, it's Megalodon. The Meg stars Jason Statham, Bingbing Lee, Rainn Wilson, and Cliff Curtis, and is directed by John Turteltaub. After escaping an attack from a giant shark, Jonas must once again face his past when he is forced to save a small crew from the bottom of an uncharted area of the ocean. Now, the Meg may draw comparisons from another popular novel turned into a movie like the 1975 classic Jaws, but it's really not fair to compare that brilliant movie with this piece of trash. In fact, I wish this final print of this movie would actually make its way to the bottom of the ocean so no one could ever watch it again.
Well, it's a miracle that it happened in the first place. In production since 1997.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. 21 years.
Yeah.
I wish that they had spent more time focusing on the script in those 21 years.
Well, look, it started out as a novel, and this is a really interesting thing when I looked into it. The agent, the writer's agent who wrote the novel, his agent actually used the manuscript to get a film option from Disney to get the book published.
Right. Yep.
It was clearly a quality piece of work.
Yep.
Now, not long after that, Deep Blue Sea came out.
Yeah, that was 1999.
Yeah,
film.
Didn't do great.
Yeah.
And Disney said, we'll probably leave it.
Yeah.
Since then, it was in the pipes with people like Guillermo del Toro, who could have done something really interesting, but
Yeah, exactly.
didn't make it over the line. Eli Roth. And then eventually ended up with Turteltaub, and only came to light because of the backing of a Chinese production company. And I think that's really had a big effect on the finished product we get it on the screen.
Yeah.
It's very much a film made for the Asian market.
Yeah, I actually have a feeling that maybe Turteltaub was actually sort of picked mainly for his last name. Yeah, I mean, Turtle.
Turteltaub.
Yeah, and then I think about how the film actually ends with the caption Finn as well. And I'm like, this film is really going very deep right now.
Oh, it's complex and subtle
Yeah.
in ways one cannot even imagine.
I'm fine with homage to classic films. Like, there was actually a point of view shot from the shark,
Yeah.
which was kind of reminiscent of Chrissy swimming at the start
Exactly.
of Jaws. And that shot was great. It was
Yeah.
really well done. And I'm like, that was really cool. I like that. But when you are directly lifting scenes out,
Yes.
the anti-shark cage,
Yes.
the beach scene as well, and just doing the same thing but without the subtlety and nuance that
Yeah.
Jaws has, it's not cool, man.
At that point,
Yeah.
what is the point? I'd rather just watch the original.
It's played with a lot of dumb movie lines.
It's played with a lot of dumb full stop.
Yeah, but it's got those very generic lines that you come across in a lot of dumb movies.
For sure.
Like the line, "There's something down here."
That's why you went there.
That's-
to find out what was down there. Now, and that in itself is stupid. In the book, Jonas is recruited to retrieve a very expensive robot
Right.
submarine that's been sent down, which is what any logical person would do. I mean, not to give away too much, but they're not really sure where the bottom of the ocean even is. So why they haven't tested that out with a unmanned device first is it defies all logic. And the stupid just piles on from there.
And it's actually run by a very, very wealthy man who does have access to all this equipment.
One
Why?
assumes so.
Another line that I really loved was the sunken glider, right?
Yes.
So there's a sunken glider there, right? What destroyed that sunken glider, right? And then somebody says, "I'm not sure I want to know."
Yeah.
It's just another dumb movie line.
Superfluous, doesn't drive anything, and just I'm sure the actors involved are lovely people, but when you read a script that has lines like that in it, surely inwardly they die a little. Just think of the paycheck. Just think of the paycheck. It just keeps going, and it almost seems that everyone involved kind of went, checking out now.
Yeah. The writing checks out as well, and I'm not sure how closely related to the book is in many of its plot points, but there's the scene where the entire crew are sitting around and there's exposition about the shark,
for
right?
sure.
And they just basically say, we haven't encountered this creature before, so we don't know what to expect.
We don't know anything about it, what it'll do, what its habits are, nothing.
Yep. Bing Bing's character, later on in the film, is
Yep.
sitting there with Jason Statham and then says, "This needle will penetrate its skin. I'm sure of it. It's not a question of whether it will or it won't."
Yeah, I
I'm
know
absolute-
shark anatomy. Let me do what I do best.
You get this little needle through his skin?
Look, we could spend the next 6 hours listing the inconsistencies in this film. But let's not.
Let's not.
No, let's cut to the chase. This film is objectively not great.
Yeah.
The script's not great.
Mm.
The acting is serviceable, but I mean, the best, most enjoyable performance came
The
from
kid.
a child.
Yeah,
so
the kid.
That's pretty telling.
She's a great little actor.
Yeah.
In fact, we were sitting there watching. I'm just like, she's fantastic. You know.
Yeah.
Your film's in trouble
Yep.
when your kid, the kid actor, actually produces the best, most convincing performance. And she is the only character in the film that's not so eager to jump into the water when a big shark is lurking around.
Yeah.
She's actually the smart one. She stays at the station.
Yep.
Statham, at every opportunity,
Yeah.
jumps into the water. I mean, Statham. He's always
Yeah.
serviceable. I like him on screen. To
For
me,
sure.
he's the UK's answer to Bruce Willis. For me, in many ways.
Yeah, for sure. And when you put him in films that have a good script and other characters that he can bounce off,
He's great.
great. Fulfilling whatever role he's fulfilling in this particular film. And
Yeah.
in this case, it's the guy that jumps in the water.
Mm.
You've got some people of an Asian background. You've got an Australian. You've got a Kiwi.
Yeah.
So that's all very interesting.
Mm.
And then Statham is the outsider.
And I seem to reference that a few times in the film as well. Like when things are going down, they're actually calling different countries to come and deal with the problem, essentially. So it feels like
Yeah.
a global sort of effort.
But again, rather than let that happen, our characters don't just sort of escape and step back and go, maybe we shouldn't deal with this because we're not equipped.
Yeah.
Maybe a few attack choppers over from Australia would be a good idea.
Yeah, sure.
They keep going back into the water again and
That's
again.
it. Yeah, jump
when
in
you-
there, man.
Just when you thought it wasn't safe to go back in the water, they do.
But I thought it was safe to go back into the cinema. So
And what I liked was that they're not forced by the script to talk in a way that they don't talk. The guy from New Zealand sounds like a guy from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Ruby Rose is Australian, obviously, and she just uses her normal Australian accent, which we all love hearing.
I don't know, man. I think she should maybe just stick to roles where she doesn't use any lines of dialogue. She was great in John Wick too.
She had a couple of lines in there, but
She didn't say anything in John Wick.
that's right.
Yeah,
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 she's
yeah.
mute. That's
Yeah,
right.
and I think she's quite effective there. But every time she opened her mouth in this film, I'm like, ugh. Not that even Brando himself couldn't have saved that dialogue.
No, but I think I did at one point think it was a bit incongruous the way her character was always smiling and making peace signs and stuff. It was like, you're all getting killed.
Yeah.
You're a little too chipper, Duff.
Yeah. If it had been like a 50-minute film, because once the 50-minute mark rolls around,
For sure.
it sort of feels like the
It could have been an ending.
third act there. It sort of feels like a third act.
Yeah,
You know, and
but
it
they
kind of
thought,
stops.
wait, we've got another $100 million to spend.
Let's pad
Let's-
it out. Let's
let's
keep
keep
going.
going.
So of course, more things happen, and I'm like,
Hmm.
this is so redundant at this point. And Cliff Curtis's character turns around and says, "Are we really doing this?" It's like, what have you been multiple times over and over? You've done the same thing for
Yeah.
the past half an hour.
Yeah, let's keep fighting this unstoppable force of nature, even though we could escape, because reasons.
John Turteltaub, of course, the director, and Jason Statham have come out and basically said, look, we're really disappointed in the final product. And,
Right.
it sort of comes down to, I think, so many cooks, so many producers, so many people have their
Yeah.
hands in this project
For sure.
that it ends up just, trying to please everybody and ends up pleasing nobody.
Nobody, and
Yeah.
I think it's a big case of the people who were paying for it have maybe had too much of a say. I'm quite sure that a lot of the third act, if you can call it that in this film,
Yeah.
happened because they wanted stunning shots of exotic Asian locations.
Yeah. And they definitely do that.
Except for the shark, this film looks pretty good.
The shark looks terrible.
Mm.
And I'm so surprised that we're now 43 years past Jaws,
Yeah.
1975,
Yeah.
right? And a model
Mm-hmm.
on set known as Bruce the shark.
Bruce, we love Bruce.
We love Bruce, you know, such a character in that film.
Yep.
It was a model that didn't work very well either.
It didn't even work then.
It didn't even work, you know. It's still the best looking shark we've had on film.
This thing looks like it's made out of mud. Like it
Yeah.
It
Well,
looks
it's
soft and squishy, and it doesn't look like a 75-foot long prehistoric killing machine.
not at all, and it's very dark and murky.
Yep.
In the bottom of the ocean,
Yeah,
and then in
obviously.
the beach scene where it's in shallow waters, it still looks dark and murky, as if to sort of cover up some inconsistency in the CGI or something like
incredibly
that.
cheap CGI.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just like the difference between having a model, something you can actually photograph, and something that's generated by a computer.
Yep.
Right. There's just no comparison to that because
No,
it's not
because
real.
we know it's not real. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a shot where Jonas, Statham's character, literally comes face to face with Megalodon, and it's comical. He looks silly thrashing about at something that's not there, and it looks silly because the computer graphics are bad.
Even the audience that seemed to be enjoying it while we were sitting there watching it, they actually laughed at that moment
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, this was meant to be probably the scariest moment for that character in the film, and
Yeah.
it was comical.
Had they played up more one-liners, if
Mhm.
they had have gone in more of a comedic route, this film might have worked. But it
You
wants
needed
you to
some levity.
absolutely. It wanted this film's intention was for us to take it seriously,
Mhm.
to be scared of this thing.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't at any moment in that film.
Well, look, when it gets 10 minutes into a film and the person watching it is sitting like this,
That was you.
That was
by the way.
me.
Yeah.
yeah. That's not a great song.
Because it's all over the place with its tone.
Yes,
You know,
definitely.
prior to the anti-shark cage sequence,
Mm-hmm.
everyone on board is starting to crack jokes.
Yep.
And it seems to come out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's shoehorned in
Yeah.
about 20 minutes of the film. They're all suddenly quipping, and it's right before they're going off to meet their fate in this epic duel against
Yeah.
a sea monster.
Yeah.
And
And then back
They-
to serious again.
back
and
to
it's
serious.
Just like, it's
they just spread that out,
Yeah.
and we would have been fine. I think again, this is because of it being backed by a Chinese company and made for a Chinese audience. So they include tropes of Asian cinema. You know, like the parents being proud of their offspring and that kind of stuff. And it doesn't serve any purpose.
Yeah, right.
It just
Yeah.
makes it more incoherent, muddies the waters.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mighty's the Waters, I like that.
Mm.
It's very good, very good. Yeah, so I think if it had played on more of that comedic angle,
Mm-hmm.
it probably would have got a pass from me, where I would say, okay, this film is not great, but you can at least go and have fun.
Fun.
And it would be dumb fun,
Yep.
but it still would be fun. In this case, it's
And I
just...
hear that people do that.
Absolutely, and in this case, it's just dumb.
Yeah, for sure. It also could have ended about an hour earlier than it did, and that would have been fine.
Yeah, the 50-minute mark,
Mhm.
right there, and it's like, cool, all right, it's dreadful, but it's quite short.
Black Book's quotes.
So what do you give it?
-4. No, look, you know, I sat in that film wishing I wasn't. So
Mm.
it
It was a terrible experience.
Yeah.
This one's more of a tough one for me to review in many
Yeah.
ways because I'm tossing up between an incredibly low rating or a slightly
Well,
higher low rating.
Do we have to give it at least a star? Do we have
No.
to? Well, then I'm gonna say
no
no
stars.
stars.
No stars.
no
Okay.
stars. It has no quality redeeming features, and therefore I award it no stars.
Mm.
We're now dumber for having watched this film.
Nip High football rules!
I'm going to give it 1 star.
Why?
The credits. When the credits came up.
What, the song?
No. Actually, that was a funny song.
The fact that it ended.
The fact that it ended and the title
One
card
star.
Finn actually comes up.
Yep.
It's pretty incredible.
What the hell is that?
So that was our review of The Meg, and after watching that film, we are all megged out. But what did you think of the film? Did you like it more than we did? Let us know in the comments below what you thought. While you're there, let us know what your favourite shark movie is of all time.
Jaws.
Yeah. Until next time, guys, don't forget to flick a like and subscribe. And remember,
A weekend watching movies is a weekend well spent.
thanks for watching.
Unless it's the